You had to remind me, huh? Gosh dang, I thought you was going to be the one in here that would take care of me.
It reminds you, it is red and blue time. Welcome to the big broadcast. Joker talking there about the fact that Florida has outscored Kentucky in the first quarter 94-3 over the last few years. We're going to get into football. Say hello to Daryl Bird and Howie Lindsay. And Daryl, before we redirect our friends to football, we do have some basketball to talk about, as Tent City is now officially in camp.
Tent City is. Last year for Midnight Madness, the campers started, you can start camping out Wednesday before the Saturday, over 500 tents. I was down there on day one. They had 412 on the very first day. That's Memorial Coliseum / the Craft Center. They've tied the two buildings together. Those tents wrap all the way around, all four corners, and then spill out into other directions as well. It's crazy.
That is crazy. That is absolutely nuts. You people, it's just unbelievable to me that you're camping out for a practice. We talk about practice. And part of me is just appalled by it. The other part of me is just
jealous.
I'm like, what are you doing? How in the world is there that kind of fanaticism that they would camp out for a practice? It is unbelievable. Props to them. Props to Kentucky for having that kind of fanaticism. And on Louisville's side, they're lining up to play for Rick Pitino. He got another recruit, Akoi Agau. I think I pronounced that correctly. Yeah. And then Chris Jones, a JUCO recruit, one of the top point guards in the nation. So things are lining up pretty well for Louisville.
If we ever get to the point they line up for UK football games, we got something here. But they are going to play this week anyway, and we'll talk about it on our Game Time storyline. The Red and Blue Review brought to you by the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, reminding you to share the road. Well, our topic number one is Joker keeping his job after a abysmal performance last week at home against Western Kentucky. Joker says there's 72 reasons he ought to come back.
We got 72 freshmen and sophomores in this program. We just played a team that has 50 juniors and seniors in their program, and I get that we got to be better than that. But you know, we got a lot of good young players playing ball for us. So, but it's not my job is to make sure we win football games. Continue doing the things that we need to do to win football games, and the first order of business is focusing on football.
He is caught in such a tough spot because the people who are hating on him, he's not going to change their mind. But he comes out and says, well, we got 72 freshmen, sophomores, including true freshman DeMarcus Sweat, who scored the game-tying touchdown against Western, who's going to be really good. You answer that question. If you hate him, you say, well, you're just making excuses. What are you doing with so many young players? Why don't you have 25 seniors? Well, it doesn't work that way. There is attrition. Louisville, 9 seniors. Alabama, 8 seniors. Mm-hmm. That's just not fair. Alabama has only 8 seniors. So you're not going to have a huge senior class most years. It's just the way it works out. I get a feeling he can't come out and say it, but if I'm in his shoes and we're sitting here looking at it, you could say, this team could be pretty good next year.
Yeah.
And now it's like, am I going to be around to have the opportunity to get over this hurdle? That's the question. That's why you say, the question was, why do you deserve another year beyond 3? It's because we got 72 freshmen, sophomores.
Shouldn't an SEC team with 72 freshmen and sophomores still beat a
Yes.
Western Kentucky team with 50 seniors?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the killer. I mean, the 2-point conversion failed. Maybe you're not quite as angry. You're still angry Western got close, but to lose to Western, he did. That's the worst thing that could have happened to him.
Well, the mood in that Kentucky locker room after the loss to Western Kentucky was only slightly different than what it was in the Louisville locker room after their narrow win over North Carolina.
And you know what's amazing and what was really good about that game is that when the players came in the locker room, it was that feeling that they had lost the game. And that's what you want them to feel like. And because a year ago, you lost the game, and they didn't feel as bad as they felt on Saturday.
So they felt like they were down after that? The game?
Well, they just felt like they had lost the game. So, hey, guys, we won the football game. Let's get up. I mean, we're 3-0. Let's get moving. But they felt like they had lost that game.
This is a big-time sign of progress. If you're a Louisville fan, you know, granted you're upset about the second half, all that kind of thing, but if you hear Charlie Strong say that those guys were upset with the way that they played, they felt like it was a loss, that is a huge sign of progress because previously, as he said, after that North Carolina game where they didn't score until the final minute, it was 14-0. They scored right there in the final minute. Those guys after that game, I think were genuinely like, hey, we played pretty well.
Yeah.
You lost, right? So
Right.
I think that the mood switch there is a massive difference. And once you have that switch in a locker room, that makes all the difference in the world. Because now they understand, okay, it's not just winning. It's playing like we should play. And they won, they just didn't play like they should play.
Well, if you're concerned about Joker Phillips surviving as a guy through this tempest that he's created in this football season, don't be, because Joker would tell you he played on worse Kentucky teams than he's coaching.
I'm built for this. I was 0-10-1. Okay, all we talked about is, hey, stay together. We'll get a turn to stay together. 6-6, 9-3. Okay, I've been around some head coaches that I've got a chance to watch go through this. Okay, we're fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has a really good perspective on what it's like to be part of a losing team. 0-10-1, and that was a dreadful year. I remember it very well. That was terrible to sit through. Joker was a freshman, and his problem again, I don't know what fans expect from Kentucky football. You are not going to be 9-3, 10-2 every year in the SEC. You're out of your mind if you think that's going to happen. Just look to the basketball teams that are trying to compete against UK. You cannot do it. What's going to happen, every now and then you're going to have young teams. They'll get older. They'll make a run at 8 wins, and then you'll dip back down. Then you'll make another run at 8 wins. That's where this team is close. Next year, maybe 7, maybe 8, who knows. This year is the hurdle. Let those guys grow up. And like I said, Joker's just hoping he can put together enough wins down the stretch that he is the one leading next year's resurgence to 8 wins, and then he's bought himself another 3 or 4 years. Maybe.
You know, as parents, you and I know what it's like to find one of those teachable moments. Well, Charlie Strong and his coaches had one after that win over North Carolina.
If you go out and beat a team like North Carolina by 30 points, then what happens to you this week? They get full of themselves because you just ain't put that team isn't there yet. Then they start thinking they're better than what they actually are. Then all of a sudden you walk into you go walk into a hornet's nest and you get stung real good because you're still thinking about, hey, we just beat this team from North Carolina and they supposed to be good. And our guys, we're just not there yet. We're not, and we're still working to get there. And this game was good. It was good that you have a teaching moment where guys can understand, hey, go finish the game. Now let's go get ready for the next one.
Teachable moment. I love the phrase teachable moment. YouTube is filled with teachable moments, people going off rope swings and falling on their heads and running into buildings and things. Teachable moments could be just about anything. For Louisville, the good thing is the teachable moment is they got to win. And they didn't play very well. They can yell at them afterwards, all that kind of thing. They didn't, bite it real hard while skateboarding, or they didn't, fall into a lake, while running on a rope swing like the YouTube people. They actually got to win. They can move forward with it, but they've got a teachable moment saying, okay, we didn't play this very well. We thought we lost, and the coaches can really kick them in the butt this week.
In this age of Twitter and Facebook, it is impossible to shield the UK players from the problem their coach is facing, but Joker and his guys are trying to find a way with some real FaceTime.
Well, we got to get them prepared. We got to prepare them for all the things that that are involved when you are when you're down a little bit. We got to get them prepared for this hostile environment we're about to go in. We got to just continue to talk to our kids. This is a time that they need us the most as coaches, and we'll be there for them.
We talked to some of the players about it on Monday, and Joker told them basically what he told us earlier that he experienced when his team was 0-10-1. You tell the guys, look, this family inside this building, this is all we got. Everybody else is off the bandwagon. Everybody else has turned against you. You are all you have, so you better rally around each other and weather this storm together. We will get through it, but don't look outside the building for any help. It's just us.
When you look back on this Louisville-North Carolina game, there is a tendency to focus on that second half collapse that was near disastrous. But Nate Nord says, hey, don't forget about that first half in which Louisville built a 4-touchdown lead.
It's probably the most dominating half of football I've been a part of since I've been here at the university. It was like poetry in motion. It was just fun. It was almost like a video game. Everything was just going right for us. Everybody was executing their assignments. It just worked out that way. I couldn't really explain it. It was just we practiced that way all week in practice, and then it translated to the game.
Poetry in motion, you can call it really whatever you'd like. It was pretty. And Louisville was putting it on North Carolina. I've talked with a lot of fans at halftime going in and out of the stadium. You know, I was going from the press box down. People were giddy. I mean, people were excited. They, you know, the phrase that comes to mind is "We're back, Jack." You know, because this is what they want to see. This is the old Bobby Petrino style, where you just put it on people. And the excitement in that stadium was so much fun to see. And now what's interesting is Louisville fans have seen how good this team could be. So that's a different standard than what they were held to before we saw that first half.
Yeah, plus the players have seen what they can be as well, and that's added momentum. Well, the Cats and the Cards both heading to Florida for football games this weekend. We'll talk about that when we come back. As we head to the break, Daryl's going to tell us about the Cats ball.
Do appreciate it very much. This week's cover is called Stacked Deck. The question being, after the loss to Western Kentucky, are the odds simply stacked too strongly against Joker Phillips? He's got to turn it around. He's got to do it in the SEC. Come on. He's got road trip to Florida this week, then number 7 South Carolina comes into town. But after that, it gets a little intriguing. So we'll see how it plays out. You can follow it every step of the way. Basketball Madness right around the corner as well. To subscribe, it's 800-641-3302.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Explorer or F-150. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford, on the Waterson at Poplar Level Road.
I want to be the president.
A news anchor.
A Division I basketball player.
A writer.
An investment banker.
A zookeeper.
A surgeon.
I want to play field hockey in the Olympics.
I want to go to Columbia University.
I want to grow up and have a family.
When I grow up, I just want to be alive.
Think
before you drink.
Buying your next VW from Bachman Volkswagen will be a great experience. No games or gimmicks, competitive prices, and a huge inventory make number 1 Bachman the place to get your Volkswagen. The all-new 2012 Jetta, an IHS top safety pick, is a great vehicle and fun to drive. Or get the sporty all-new 2012 Volkswagen Beetle. It's back and better than ever. Come to number 1 Bachman Volkswagen today to get your new Volkswagen before someone else does.
Bachman makes a difference.
They'll see you before you see them. Cops are cracking down on drinking and riding. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, check out Allstate Ford's pre-owned inventory at allstatetrucks.com. Large selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Also, a nice selection of Ford-certified pre-owned vehicles. Allstate Ford, on the Waterson at Poplar Level Road.
We sensed it, okay, but we don't get a chance to hear it because we're buried in there trying to prepare for the next opponent, and our next opponent is Florida.
We're going to have Florida with.
I hear it when I come in here. Okay?
Well, you're going to hear it right here, too. Welcome back to the Red and Blue Review as the Cats and the Cards get ready for a trip to Florida. It should be fun for Louisville, perhaps not so much for the Cats. Up top, Kentucky snapped the nation's longest losing streak by beating Tennessee last year. Unfortunately, they still own the dubious record of losing 25 in a row to the Gators.
Their rushing offense, they're rushing for 232 yards per game. Their rushing defense, giving up just a little over 100 yards rushing. Their quarterbacks only threw, has thrown for 70% and no interceptions. Their tailback is leading the league in rushing, and then they're 3-0. So it's actually 5 stats. It's really impressive.
Now, Florida is actually one of the mild surprises of the SEC so far because they had a down year under Will Muschamp last year, didn't know what to expect this year, and yet here they go win at A&M. They come back and win at Tennessee, and they're doing it a little differently than the old Florida teams did. We'll talk about it later in the show, but they're getting the job done. They're playing good defense, and suddenly maybe Florida's a lot better than we thought they were going to be this year. Bad news for Kentucky heading into Gainesville, no doubt about it.
Well, Louisville is ranked in the top 20. They're playing a team from the Sun Belt. This is a game that Louisville should win, and that's the messaging they're hearing this week from their coaches.
Well, it's all about just a new standard of excellence, and that's what we talk to our kids about. Some of these games we know we should go win, so let's go win these football games. And yeah, you should get that feeling that you didn't go finish a football game and your third year into it. But a lot of these guys, they've been here with us, so they hear coaches talk about it all the time. So now that's the message that they're going to get.
And here again, we're seeing a sea change from Charlie Strong's first year to now. First year it was, hey, we're going to go play, and if we win some, great. The second year it was, all right, we should win, we're going to a bowl, da-da-da. Now it is, we should expect to win these games. Mm-hmm. We should expect to beat FIU. And so I think for Louisville, they're going up against a team that was expected to win this Sun Belt, but I don't know if they're having such a good start. So Louisville should go down there, handle its business, come out with a good win, and come on back home. If they take that business-like approach down there, they'll be fine.
Well, Howard, you're talking about playing in the Sun Belt, which up until this year you would have disregarded those teams, but Western has knocked off Kentucky. Louisiana Monroe's knocked off Arkansas.
Yep.
So there's going to be no reason for Louisville to go there thinking this is a Sun Belt team. We just have to show up.
Well, and two, I think it helps Louisville that they all know each other. I mean, you got so many kids from Florida down there. They know all these other kids. They played against them in high school. They know that they've got good players.
Yeah. Let me show you a number as we start number crunching the Kentucky-Florida game that is going to blow your mind. This number 13, Florida has the number 13 passing attack in the SEC. Think about that. Florida, the old fun and gun, is gone. This is not the old Florida most of us remember.
It is odd because they usually a team that spreads you out and try to get you playing space and out-athlete you. And this is a team that, that when they spread you out, they want to try to run the ball and create running lanes. So we've got, and we'll get into some two-back stuff that we have to pack the box. We have to get as many people in the box as we possibly can to try to stop the run because that's what they are. They're a team that likes to run the football, stop the run, play great defense.
I may need to go back and hear that clip again and say, what? What are you talking about? And I've talked to some of my friends down in Florida, and it's taken a while to get used to this whole mindset. Number 13 out of 14 teams in the league, and you've only attempted 78 passes the entire season. UK had 61 attempts against Western. Yeah. UK is the number one passing team in the SEC. Florida's 13, but they do have the leading rusher in the league. They have one of the best ground attacks in the league. It's just Will Muschamp's style, and they're doing it differently, but it's still successful. At the end of the day, that's all that will matter. If they can get Florida back to those 10, 11, 12-win seasons like they were used to in the old days, fan base won't care. UK's just got an entirely different challenge than what they usually have when they go to Gainesville.
I think if anything costs Will Muschamp, his longevity in Florida is going to be that. I was covering the Gators back when I was living in Florida in the days of Galen Hall when they did just that. They ran the ball. They did not take advantage of the great athletes that are coming out of the state of Florida, like you see Charlie doing now with the kind of attack that they've got. Yeah. The bad news is the running attack is one of the many things this defense in Kentucky can't stop.
Yeah, that's what's going to be the challenge, is stopping that. But it is a running attack, but it's not boring three clouds and dust. They still spread it enough. They have the athletes. They can go wildcat and just destroy you. So it's still exciting. It's not completely boring, but it's not Steve Spurrier either.
Yeah. Let me show you a number that's going to amaze you about this game coming up this week when Louisville travels down to Florida. The number 26, there are actually 26 cards who are from South Florida.
The players that we have recruited here get a chance to go back home. And then within that community, a lot of those players, they grew up there, so their friends are going to get a chance to come and watch Teddy play, go watch Gaines play, go watch Miller play. They're going to have a chance to go watch these players play. And it's really good for us just for a recruiting base, because I think at first we wanted this game on a Friday night, and I was like, no, it's better to play it on a Saturday because they have Friday night football, and those recruits can all come to the game and get a chance to watch us. And so the players that we are recruiting, they have a chance to watch our players and then see what we're all about.
South Florida has been very, very, very good to Louisville over the years. I mean, we're talking some Pro Bowlers, we're talking a lot of NFL players, and we're talking about half of the starters on this team. It's unbelievable how many guys from Miami. You just look at the first 8 numbers on Louisville's roster. First 8, 6 out of 8 are from Miami. 6 out of 8 of the first. I mean, it's crazy how much talent they've got from Miami. It's also crazy how much they like those single-digit numbers. But it's you're looking at Teddy Bridgewater and that Miami Northwestern program that was so good. Miami Central, Palmetto, Bradenton. We're talking Boca Raton where Nate Nordis from. I mean, there's just so much talent in that Miami area, and Louisville's really taking advantage of it. Those guys want to go back home. They want to shine in front of their folks. There's also going to be a ton of recruits there. FIU has invited everybody. Now, that may backfire on them because they've invited everybody to see Louisville win.
You know, it's interesting. Charlie was talking about the fact that the kids down in Florida, if they don't get invited to play at Florida, Miami, or Florida State, they want to go out of state, and that's what's helped Louisville.
Yeah, I think so, because they want to play Big Ten football, and FIU used that win against Louisville last year. They started pitching, hey, we're better than Louisville. You can't. So Louisville's got to reverse that. Louisville's also got to show that they're above the UCFs and USFs, who also have been competing with Louisville for recruits.
Well, it's time to play that old ifing game. We're going to talk about what Kentucky's got to do if they want to win. The Cats have not scored a point in the first quarter this season. If they're going to beat the Gators, they better score first down in Florida.
We're going to do one thing different. For some reason or another, we have started off really slow. And then we battle our tails off, which says a lot for our team to fight back. And so we're going to try one thing different. We're going to stretch. We're going to do a 10-minute individual, and we're going to get right into a 11-on-11 period. Just try to, and explain to our kids, here's the reason why. We want to start fast. We've got to start faster. Okay, we can't wait and see what the tone of the game is. We got to start fast right away.
I like the idea of mixing it up, trying to jumpstart your process. Because their last few trips for several years into Gainesville, they've been blown out so early you can't even get into your seat before the ball game is over in a lot of instances. They cannot afford to fall behind. In the swamp, that is such a difficult place to play. It gets so loud. You've got to take the crowd out of the game and buy yourself time. If you're going to pull off a miracle upset, you've got to buy yourself time to do it late in the game. You've got to be around by halftime.
Playing the old ifing game for the Cards. Remember, they lost to Florida International at home last year. If they're going to win this year at Florida International, the Cards have to keep up their strong road performances under Coach Charlie Strong.
What's going to be critical for us is that when we go on the road, we have to pack our defense, and defensively, we're going to have to play well.
Apparently, record shows we do pretty well on the road, so I don't know. You got to prepare for every game. You don't really pay attention whether it's at home or away. At least I don't.
And it's going to be a great challenge for us. This next month is going to be a really good challenge for us, and just going to see just how strong of a football team we are and how well we can play away from home.
Louisville doesn't have another home game for 5 weeks. I mean, it's like 4.5 weeks, something like that. And they play 3 road games in a row. This is the first one of those. Louisville was very good on the road last year, so I think they've got the opportunity to win these games. These are winnable games. But as Charlie Strong says, they've got to stay focused on the road, especially when you've got all your family there. You've got to worry about tickets. Did everybody get their tickets? Is everybody going to be in the game? Aunt Sue didn't get her ticket. All that. They've got to put all that stuff behind them and go handle their business on the road.
Coming up, we'll tell you about what needs fixing on the football side heading into this weekend as we head to the break. Howie's going to tell us about the Louisville Sports Report.
Absolutely. The Sports Report is your best choice for Louisville coverage. You can check out all of our articles, all of our pictures, all our photo galleries, all that kind of stuff at cardinalsports.com during the week. For those magazines, you check out LouisvilleSportsNews.com, 502-636-4330. We'll mail a copy to your house.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, stop by Allstate Ford and test drive a new Explorer or F-150. Or visit us online at allstatetrucks.com. Allstate Ford, on the Waterson at Poplar Level Road.
I want to be the president.
A news anchor.
A Division I basketball player.
A writer.
An investment banker.
A zookeeper.
A surgeon. I want to play field hockey in the Olympics.
I want to go to Columbia University.
I want to grow up and have a family.
When I grow up, I just want to be alive.
Think.
Before you drink.
XBW from Bachman Volkswagen will be a great experience. No games or gimmicks, competitive prices, and a huge inventory make #1 Bachman the place to get your Volkswagen. The all-new 2012 Jetta, an IHS top safety pick, is a great vehicle and fun to drive. Or get the sporty all-new 2012 Volkswagen Beetle. It's back and better than ever. Come to #1 Bachman Volkswagen today to get your new Volkswagen before someone else does.
Bachman makes a difference.
They'll see you before you see them. Cops are cracking down on drinking and riding. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Have you driven a Ford lately? Well, check out Allstate Ford's pre-owned inventory at allstatetrucks.com. Large selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Also, a nice selection of Ford certified pre-owned vehicles. Allstate Ford on the Watterson at Poplar Level Road.
What needs fixing on the Red and Blue Review? Brought to you by Doug Jones Home Improvements.
What needs fixing for the Cats heading to Florida is that defense.
Thing we have to do is make sure we tackle better, and then the next guy in comes in and strips the ball.
Yes, one of the things that's been a huge disappointment. They're giving up 70% passing. The defensive line was supposed to be really good this year. They were going to stop the run. It's a huge challenge in Florida. They've got to be able to stop the run or they're in big, big trouble.
Howie, what needs fixing with Louisville football?
Absolutely nothing.
But we'll come up with something to talk about next week on the Red and Blue Review as we go down to Florida and see if these guys can snap a 25-game losing streak to the Gators and to see if Howie and his guys can bounce back from that surprising loss that Florida International slapped on them last year at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. All that and much more as we talk about why it's important for both programs to win when they go to the Chin-Strap State when we rejoin you next time here on the Red and Blue Review.
The Red and Blue Review is brought to you by Doug Jones Home Improvement Company, the Bachman Auto Group, Sam Swope, SWAT Team Pest Control, Joe's OK Bayou, PNC Bank, Allstate Ford Truck Sales, and the Ali Center.